And the dancers came to meet David out of all the towns of Israel, with drums and with rejoicing and with cymbals. And the women began and were saying, Saul killed amongst his thousands, and David amongst his 10,000s. And the matter appeared evil in the eyes of Saul concerning this word. And he said, They ascribed to David the 10,000s, and to me they ascribed the thousands. And Saul was eyeing David with suspicion from that day and beyond. And Saul was afraid from before David, and he removed him from him, and made him an officer of 1,000 for himself. And he was going out and coming in before the people. And David was prudent in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. And Saul saw how he acted very prudently, and he was afraid from before him. And all Israel and Judah loved David, for he was going out and coming in from before the people. And Saul's daughter Michal loved David, and Saul was told, and it was right in his eyes. And Saul said, I will give her to him, and she will be a snare to him. And the hand of the Aliphiles was against Saul. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Speak to David secretly, saying, Behold, the king wants you, and all his servants love you. And as for you, become the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spoke these words in the hearing of David. And David said, Does it seem light in your eyes to become the king's son-in-law? And as for me, I am a humble man and of no repute. And the servants of Saul reported to him according to these things that David said. And Saul said, This is what you shall say to David. The king does not desire to avenge for the king's enemies with a present, except with 100 foreskins of the Aliphiles. And Saul counted on casting him into the hands of the Aliphiles. And the servants of Saul told David these words, and the matter was right in the eyes of David, to be the king's son-in-law. And David rose and went, he and his men, and smote 100 men among the Aliphiles, and brought their foreskins to the king. And he became the king's son-in-law, and he gave him his daughter Michal for him as a wife. And Saul saw that the Lord was with David, and that all Israel loved him, and he continued to be afraid of David even more. And Saul spoke to his son Jonathan and to all his servants to put David to death. And Saul's son Jonathan was much taken with David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul seeks to put you to death. Therefore be on guard tomorrow morning, and hide yourself and stay in hiding. And I will go out and stand beside my father in a field, there where you are. And I will speak to my father about you, and see what it might be, and I will tell you. And Jonathan spoke well of David to his father Saul, and said to him, Let the king not sin against your slave David, because he has not sinned against you, and his deeds are very good. And he put his life in his hand, and smote the Aliphile. And the Lord brought about a great deliverance, and all Israel saw and rejoiced. And why do you sin against innocent blood, by putting David to death without cause? And Saul heeded the voice of Jonathan. And Saul swore, saying, The Lord lives, if he shall die. And Jonathan called David, and related all these words to him. And Jonathan brought David into Saul, and he was in his presence as yesterday and the 3rd day. And the war continued to be against Saul. And David prevailed over and fought the Aliphiles, and he smote among them with a very great blow, and they fled from before him. And there came an evil divine spirit upon Saul, and he was at rest in his house, and a spear was in his hand, and David was playing music with his hands, and Saul was seeking to strike the spear into David, and David withdrew from before Saul, and he struck the spear into the wall, and David fled and escaped. And it happened in that night that Saul sent messengers to David's house to keep watch over him, to put him to death in the morning. And his wife Michal told David, saying, If you do not save your own life this night, tomorrow you will be put to death. And Michal led David down through the window, and he departed and flew away and escaped. And Michal took and laid the cenotaph on the bed, and she put goat's liver by its head, and covered them with a garment. And Saul sent messengers to take David, and they said he was unwell. And he sent for David, saying, Bring him to me on the bed, that I may put him to death. And the messengers come, and behold, the cenotaph is on the bed, and goat's liver by its head. And Saul said to Michal, Why have you thus deceived me and sent off my enemy, and he has escaped? And Michal said to Saul, He said, Send me off, but if not, I will put you to death. And David fled and escaped, and came to Samuel at Hamathim, and told him all that Saul did to him. And David and Samuel went and settled at Naioth in Ramah. And it was told to Saul, saying, Behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. And Saul sent messengers to take David. And they saw the assembly of the prophets, and Samuel stood as appointed over them. And a divine spirit came upon the messengers of Saul, and they were prophesying. And it was told to Saul, and he sent other messengers, and they also prophesied. And Saul added to send messengers the third time, and they too prophesied. And Saul was seething with anger, and he too went to Hamathim. And he came to the well of the threshing floor that is in Sephi, and he asked and said, Where are Samuel and David? And they said, Behold, at Naioth in Ramah. And he went from there toward Naioth in Ramah. And a divine spirit also came upon him. And as he was going, he was prophesying until he came to Naioth in Ramah. And he stripped off his clothes, and he prophesied before them, and fell naked all that day and the whole night. Therefore they were saying, Is Saul also among the prophets? And David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came before Jonathan, and said, What have I done, and what is my wrong? And wherein have I sinned before your father, that he is seeking my life? And Jonathan said to him, Far be it from you, you shall not die. Behold, my father will not do anything either great or small, and not uncover my ear. And why is it that my father should hide this matter? This is not possible. And David answered Jonathan and said, Perceiving your father knows that I have found favor in your eyes. And he said, Do not let Jonathan know this, he may not consent. But the Lord lives, and your soul lives, that as I said, between me and death has been filled up. And Jonathan said to David, What does your soul desire, and what shall I do for you? And David said to Jonathan, Behold now, tomorrow is the new moon, and seated I will not sit with the king to eat, and you will send me off, and I will hide in the plain until evening. If observing your father observes me, then you will say, Entreating David asked leave of me to run as far as to Bethlehem his city, for there is a sacrifice of days there for all the tribe. If this is what he says, very well, there is peace for your slave, and if he should answer you harshly, know that evil has been determined by him, and you shall do mercy with your slave, for you have brought your slave into a covenant with the Lord along with yourself. And if there is iniquity in your slave, you put me to death, and why should you bring me thus to your father? And Jonathan said, Far be it from you, for if knowing I know that the evil from my father had been determined to come upon you, and if not, I will bring tidings to you to your cities. And David said to Jonathan, Who will tell me if your father answers you harshly? And Jonathan said to David, Go and stay in a field. And they both went out into a field. And Jonathan said to David, The Lord the God of Israel knows that I will sound out my father as the opportunity arises. 3 times, and behold, if there is good concerning David, then I will not send to you in the field. This is what God may do to Jonathan, and this is what he may add, for I will report the evils to you and uncover your ear, and I will send you off, and you will depart in peace. And the Lord will be with you, as he was with my father. And if I am still living, you shall also do mercy to me. And if I die by death, you shall not remove your mercy from my house forever. And if not, when the Lord removes the enemies of David, each from the face of the earth, that the name of Jonathan be removed from the house of David, and may the Lord seek out the enemies of David. And Jonathan added yet to swear to David, for he loved the soul of one who loved him. And Jonathan said, Tomorrow is the new moon, and you will be observed, because your seat will be observed. And you shall do it 3 times, and observe and come to your place where you hid on the workday. And you will sit by that Hergob, and I will shoot 3 times with darts, sending them into the Amatari. And behold, I will send the lad, saying, Go, find the dart for me. If I say to the lad, saying, Here is the dart, away from you, even here take it. Come, for the Lord lives, there is peace for you, and there is no word. If this is what I say to the young man, here is the dart, away from you, even beyond. Go, for the Lord has sent you away. And as for the matter about which I and you have spoken, behold, the Lord is witness between me and you forever." And David hid in a field, and the month came, and the king came to the table to eat. And the king sat upon his seat, as once and again, upon the seat by a wall. And he preceded Jonathan, and Abner sat beside Saul, and David's place was under observation. And Saul did not say anything in that day, for he said, "A chance, he appears not to be clean, because he has not purified himself." And it happened on the morrow, on the 2nd day of the month, and David's place was under observation. And Saul said to his son Jonathan, "Why is it that the son of Jesse has not come to the table, both yesterday and today?" And Jonathan answered Saul and said to him, "David asked leave of me to go as far as to Bethlehem his city. And he said, Do send me off, for there is a sacrifice of our tribe for us in the city, and my brothers gave orders to me. And now if I have found favor in your eyes, I will indeed get away and see my brothers. For this reason he has not come to the king's table." And Saul was greatly seething with anger against Jonathan, and he said to him, "You son of traitorous girls, for do I not know that you are an accomplice of the son of Jesse to your shame, and to the shame of your mother's uncovering? For during all the days which the son of Jesse lives upon the earth, your kingdom shall not be established. Now therefore send, take the youth, for he is a son of death." And Jonathan answered Saul, "Why does he die? What has he done?" And Saul lifted up the spear against Jonathan to put him to death. And Jonathan knew that this evil from his father to put David to death was fully determined. And Jonathan sprang up from the table in fierce anger, and ate no food on the 2nd day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father was set against him. And morning came, and Jonathan went out into the field as arranged for a witness to David, and with him was a little boy. And he said to the boy, "Run, find for me the darts with which I am throwing." And the boy ran, and he was throwing the dart and sent it beyond. And the boy came to the place of the dart where Jonathan was throwing. And Jonathan called after the young man and said, "There is the dart, away from you, even beyond." And Jonathan called after his boy, saying, "Hurrying, be quick, and do not linger." And Jonathan's boy gathered up the darts for his master. And the boy knew nothing, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his implements to his boy and said to his boy, "Go, enter into the city." And when the boy had entered, David rose from the ergob and fell on his face and did obeisance to him 3 times. And each kissed his fellow, and each wept with his fellow, until a great completion. And Jonathan said, "Go in peace, and as we both have sworn in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord shall be witness between me and you, and between my seed and your seed forever." And David got up and left, and Jonathan went into the city.